Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to walk you through some points that you need to consider if your goal is fat loss or inch loss. Now, I'm not going to use the term weight loss because you won't necessarily lose weight if you are doing it the right way. Now, when I get to point when I get to point number 2 in this tutorial, you'll understand why I'm saying that. But essentially, the first thing you should stop doing is scale watching, and the second thing you need to stop doing is counting calories, because those are the two things that are not going to give you the results that you want, and they're not going to give you they're not going to be a true reflection of the actual results that you're getting. Okay, so I'm just going to move on to point number 1. And the first thing you need to consider is you need to look at reducing the level of toxins that are present in the body. So if we refer back to our first video where I said toxins from your diet and your lifestyle, they cause the body to produce free radicals, okay, which is damaging our healthy cells. But another thing that occurs as a result of the toxins that are present in the body due to our lifestyle choices and environmental, of course, is that the body has these has its own inbuilt defense mechanisms, I suppose, and some of these defense mechanisms are more a hindrance than a help, and this is one of those situations where it has a defense mechanism that is a hindrance than a help. In response to the toxins that are present in the body, in an attempt to protect the organs, the body surrounds the organs with a layer of fat. Now, you all may have heard of things like heard of the term fatty liver disease. Well, fatty liver disease is actually in the rise in children as well as adults, and that is where, as it suggests, it's where the liver has a layer of fat that's surrounding it, and it's affecting how well the liver is functioning. And in extreme cases, if this is left unaddressed, then it can lead to, obviously, liver failure, which is not ideal. And this is why it's very, 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 very similar to liver disease, which is what alcoholics would get. So it is very, very similar. Now, the only way you can address this problem is by addressing the cause of the free radicals in the first place. And that is understanding how each lifestyle and diet factor influences the body negatively. And unless you understand the true severity of what you're doing, of how something is seriously damaging your health, then you haven't got the motivation to make the changes that need to be made. And it's not just a case of looking at everything that you need to do and tackling it all in one go. As I touched on in the first video, these need to be tackled very, very carefully and very, very responsibly, because the last thing we want to do is overwhelm the body more by having too many things to attend to, by withdrawing from too many things, because it's going to raise your cortisol levels and cause the body more additional stress and oxidation and cell damage, and that's what we want to avoid. So it really is important to educate yourself here on how your diet and your lifestyle is contributing to the level of toxins in the body. That's not just causing free radical production, but it's causing the body to engage in this defense mechanism and surround all your organs with a layer of fat. So even if you have lost visual fat, that doesn't mean to say that the body is healthy. Okay? So this is where you need to shift your perspective entirely. You need to stop looking at this from a body image perspective and start looking at it from a health perspective. Now, you can pop pills all day long. You can pop antioxidant pills all day long. You could pop supplement pills all day long. You can have a juice or a smoothie every single morning, and that will not reduce the level of toxins in the body. They will not. So this is why it's so important to really, really educate yourself on what is causing the damage in the first place. What are you engaging in that is not serving the body very well at all? And two, the right process to tackle these problems, and slowly start turning your bad habits into consistent good habits. That is the only way you're going to address this problem here. Okay, and if you have a family, well, as I've already said, not only is obesity on the rise in children, not only is diabetes on the rise in children, but fatty liver disease is on the rise in children, and that is because of this process here not being efficient. Okay, and you giving your children things that you shouldn't be giving them. Okay, that is why it's on the rise. It's not on the rise because of any other reason. Now, young children are not engaging in alcoholic beverages. They shouldn't be smoking anyway. So it is purely down to the drinks you're giving your children, and it is down to the food that you are feeding them. So unless you get a grip of this and really understand it, you're always going to go round and round in circles. So that's the first thing you need to consider. Okay, so tip number 2 is you have to improve you need to improve your fat metabolizing process. And to do that, the only way you are going to do that is to maintain lean muscle. Now, if you look here these two pictures, both these women are exactly the same weight, but you can see a significant difference in their body shape. I mean, there's no denying that. Now, that just shows exactly what I'm about to demonstrate to you. Muscle will always weigh heavier than fat. So if you refer back to what I said in the beginning of this video, to stop scale watching, because it's not a true indication of your actual results that you're achieving. This is why I said it. Because just because you've lost weight doesn't mean that you've lost fat, and doesn't mean that you are improving your fat metabolizing process. So how do you maintain lean muscle? You maintain lean muscle by improving how well the body is able to repair any trauma that's caused to the muscle fibers. So if you are working out, then this becomes even more important, and an even bigger job for the body to engage in. So if you're working out, my first advice would be is give your body a day's break in between workouts, because it needs that to have a big enough window to engage in the repair process before you're causing yet more trauma to the muscle and tearing it, to be able to, because you've got to repair it. So you cause trauma to the muscle for your body to repair it in order to build it. If that kind of makes sense. It's a bit difficult to explain, but that is essentially how it works. You cause trauma to be able to maintain muscle and to be able to build it in the first place. But for the fat metabolizing process, all you want to be focusing on is just maintaining lean muscle. And the reason maintaining lean muscle is so important is because when we're using energy throughout our day, our body will first use up its energy stores from the food that we've eaten, so mainly from our carbohydrate intake. And then it will move swiftly over to use our fat as energy once our energy banks are emptied. Okay. But if the fat metabolizing process is static and you are not maintaining lean muscle, what will happen is it will bypass your fat and go straight to muscle to use it as fuel, and that's going to compound that lack of lean muscle even further. So you really, really must improve how well the body is repairing. So you need to get, number one, quality sleeping, because the body mainly releases its IGF-1 in restful sleep. The second thing you need to do is make sure that you're giving the body adequate levels of protein, because the body uses, so it just uses mainly IGF-1 to repair, to do the main cell regeneration process, and to repair organs and things like that, in the main. But when it comes to muscle, it requires an adequate level of protein to be able to repair it. Now, if you are not giving your body adequate levels of protein relative to your goal and relative to your activity levels, then I assure you, your body will be using muscle as fuel, and it will be, your fat will be a last resort. And that's why you tend to find people yo-yo, or they don't get results at all. The other thing you need to do is, now it doesn't even if you're maintaining lean muscle to start with, you've got the formula right to achieve your fat loss goals. So let's say you want to go to on a size 14, 16, whatever it is, to a size 8 or a 10, okay? And you've achieved your goal. Once you've achieved your goal is no longer fat loss. Your goal is now to sustain those results. So you don't then engage in the same nutritional requirements for a maintenance goal as you would a fat loss goal. They very much need to adjust accordingly. And unless you get that right and you do adjust it accordingly, and you are very mindful of what you are giving your body, it is very easy for your body to slip back and start to use muscle as fuel, and then you're going to be back to square one again, where you are storing fat again. So that's where you find people yo-yo a lot. So they'll lose the weight and then they'll gain it, and they lose it and then they'll gain it, and then they'll lose it and then they'll gain it, and they keep going round and round and round in circles like that. So it could be down to the fact that they've not got this formula right to start with. But even if they have got the formula right, if they don't adjust it accordingly, once they've achieved the results, then they will be back to square one again. You know, it's inevitable. Now, inside the program, my Get Healthy Bootcamp program, this is what I guide you through. I guide you through this process so you know how to get it right. Now, any personal trainer will tell you that this formula has to be spot on. And I know many high-profile personal trainers that will drop clients in a heartbeat if they are not engaging in the right nutritional requirements to achieve a specific goal. And I also have known many, many personal trainers who have had clients come to them because they've not been achieving the results that they want from previous personal trainers. And that's because not all personal trainers are as clued up on the nutritional side of things as they should be, or as another personal trainer is. And that is reflecting in the results that they are giving the clients. It's no reflection on their quality of training. Their quality of training could be very good, but if their client is not able to maintain lean muscle, it doesn't matter whether their goal is to sculpt muscle or to build muscle. If they're not maintaining muscle in the first place, well, they can't build or sculpt it, which means that they're not going to get the results at the rate that they should be getting them. So it is important to get this formula right, and this is what I see so many people getting wrong. So if you do, so it's all very well and good you popping antioxidant pills, which I've already explained to you, are a complete and utter waste of time, or popping vitamin supplement pills or mineral supplement pills. All these things have their own individual purposes, but they will not serve your fat loss goal in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so you have to get this formula right. Okay, now the final thing is that you need to consider is that this is something that a lot of people don't really realise. Obesity is an inflammatory disorder. So whereas most people put it down to, they always focus on mainly diet and controlling insulin levels and improving the fat metabolizing process. All that's important. However, it isn't the only reason why we store fat. It can be down to the fact that the body isn't in a position to deal with the inflammation that is present in the body at that particular time. So it's really important to be honest with yourself in terms of not just look at this from a diet perspective. You have to look at this from a lifestyle perspective as well. So you need to address every single source of inflammation that you are engaging in, and that comes from diet, it comes from lifestyle. You also need to look at how well the body is functioning, how well your body can address that internal inflammation. So you need to create the right conditions for your body to work with and give it the tools it needs to perform. So if you are not, it's all very well and good addressing your diet and addressing your lifestyle and getting all that tickety-boo, but what that does is that triggers off its own secondary chain reaction off internally. And unless your body can stop that domino effect from happening, then you'll keep going round and round in circles. Just to explain it very briefly, if there's inflammation there as a result of a diet or lifestyle habit, for example, that inflammation alone will trigger the pancreas to release more insulin on top of what your diet already, on top of what your diet is. And then not only that, but that by the pancreas releasing insulin, that triggers another inflammatory reaction off internally. So it kind of bounces backwards and forwards. So you can see there, unless you complete that jigsaw puzzle, you're always going to go round and round in circles. And this is why I am so passionate about saying to people, you have to look at the bigger picture. It's no good just looking at, well, I'm eating healthily and I'm having a juicy smoothie every day. That's not enough. It is not enough unless your body has the tools it needs to put those internal flames out, and unless you are looking at every source of inflammation. And this is why it's important to be honest with yourself. There's no good making light of a habit that you have, because all these little habits that you think aren't a big deal are contributing to inflammation, and it's contributing to this domino effect that it's been triggered internally. So if you really want to get results, you have to be honest with yourself. And this is why I'm so very, very passionate about making sure that people understand the why. They have to understand why something is bad for them and what effect it has on the body. Because only when you slip up, and we all slip up, but it's that knowledge of understanding the severity of that slip up, and understanding that, well, if I don't rectify that slip up now and get myself back on track, that one slip up can very easily spiral out of control, and then before I know it, I'm back to square one again. And that is not a place that you want to be. So it's really important that you understand the why, and this is why I do spend quite a lot of time educating my clients to make sure that they understand the severity of their actions, so that they are able to get back on the horse and get themselves back on track. Slip up, we all slip up from time to time, but you have to get yourself back on track again as quickly as you slipped up. So those are the 3 points that you really need to consider when your goal is fat loss. And this is why I said to you, it's not a case of me criticizing any brand or anything like that. It's the fact that they are, whether they're good, doesn't matter whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. If they are an incomplete solution to the problem, well, you're no better off. You're not going to achieve the results that you want to get, and you are not getting the results that you genuinely think you're getting. So, if you're losing inches, isn't a reflection on the actual results that you're getting. Okay, so it's really important to look at that bigger picture. Now, just in case you need a little bit more verification of what I'm saying. Here is me in active disease when I was active with my Crohn's disease. Now you can see clearly I'm a lot bigger than what I am in 2011. I've got another picture here where same holiday in 2008, and this was me in February 2012. So in this one here I'm a size 10, and this one here I'm a size 8, and this one I am a size 12, and I'm a size bordering on a 14 around my hips. Now, I was actually eating healthily there. I had a healthy diet. I had a healthy lifestyle. My lifestyle was squeaky clean, but I was struggling, as you can see. Now, what were the conditions my body had to work with? It had lots of toxins in it because of the drugs I was taking. It was I wasn't maintaining lean muscle because I wasn't absorbing any protein, and I was highly inflamed. So that reflected on what you see on the outside. So when I was in active disease, when I was in a really bad flare, I was very underweight when I was in an active flare, and if I was what the medical profession would deem as stable, but I was still having symptoms, so I wasn't in remission, I was just stable. I was overweight, so I was never had a healthy body weight when I was in active disease because the conditions weren't right. But as soon as I achieved stability, and that I'd probably had a degree of stability about 4 months in that picture there. That's the day after my wedding. That the inch loss naturally came. So I never dieted. My goal was not to lose weight. My goal was not to get into a dress size 8. That was not my goal. My goal was not even to lose it to get into my wedding dress. That was never ever my goal at all. It was never my driver. My driver was to have a normal life. My driver was to get healthy. My driver was to be symptom free. My driver was to be able to live my life without being in daily pain, without having to have endless trips to the bathroom every day. That was my goal. My goal was not to get into my wedding dress. It wasn't. So you can see there that by focusing on my health and thinking outside of my nutritional box and doing what it took to give my body the tools it needed. I was already, in terms of my diet and lifestyle, that was already sorted. It was, for me, I had to get the body working smarter. So I was eating healthily, my lifestyle was spot on, but what I was lacking was my body was lacking the tools it needs to work smarter. As soon as I gave my body the tools to do that, it started dealing with everything itself. I didn't change my diet. I didn't change my lifestyle because I already had that sorted. Here it was sorted, but you can see a big difference in the results. So it is really, really important to complete those points that I've just covered with you, as you can see there. And again, when I had my daughter, so if you ever wondered why some people lose their baby weight quicker than other people do, well, same principles. When we engage in when we deliver our baby, it causes a lot of inflammation to the body, and it's all relative to how well you're able to deal with that inflammation that's been caused as a result of delivery. Some bodies are better at dealing with that, and other people's struggle to deal with it, and that's why you find some people battle for years even to regain their body weight, and other people they just drop back into their pre-pregnancy clothes within weeks. And when you have a C-section, you're actually causing more trauma and inflammation to the body. So there's more work, more healing, and more recovery for the body to go through. But I had a C-section, and this picture is 4 months after giving birth by emergency C-section. But I was actually back into these jeans that you see me wearing within 4 weeks. And that was with a C-section. So you can see how quickly I healed and recovered. Now, when you have a section, they actually physically move the bowel and they move the bladder about. So technically, with my complications with having autoimmune disease, being prone to autoimmune disease, that should have been enough to trigger me a flare. Now, I was actually preparing myself for a massive flare. I stayed in remission. I was symptom free after I had my daughter. So not only did I get back into my pre-pregnancy clothes within 4 weeks, I was also symptom free, and I was back driving within 4 weeks as well, despite them telling me I needed to allow 8 weeks. And I had even more complications than just having a C-section, because it was the complications that led to me needing a C-section. I developed really serious preeclampsia, and the reason I had to have a C-section was because they were worried that my lungs were going to fill with fluid. So I was very, very poor. I was in intensive care for 3 days after having Sophia. So I was very, very poorly. So my body was under immense strain before and after having Sophia. So it would have been understandable if it had taken me a bit longer to recover, but I still recovered super quickly. So it just goes to show, if your body has the right tools and it has the right conditions to work with, what can be achieved. Good health really is a big, big jigsaw puzzle, which is why I developed the Get Healthy Bootcamp, to help teach you the building blocks of healthy living. The Get Healthy Bootcamp is an online program designed to guide you through a series of structured and controlled challenges, all aimed at helping you achieve your ultimate health goals and, more importantly, sustain lasting results. In the Get Healthy Bootcamp, you'll get 7 structured and controlled challenges, a selection of resources and tools to help you in making better choices during each challenge. You'll get an 18-week habit creating tool, which is what you see pictured here. And this is you've got 2 sets of challenges here, habits that you're going to be developing here. You've got the habits that you'll be developing through the various challenges that I'll be setting throughout the whole 21 week program. And then you've also got the habits that you'll be developing within the habit creating tool as well. You also get video tutorials that they're aimed at helping you to get the body working smarter and understand why certain diet and lifestyle factors are going to hinder the body so negatively. You get a weekly Q&A session. So if you have any questions at all, you've got that session there to fire any questions you have. You've got an accountability group to keep you motivated and inspired to keep going, because there are going to be times that you are going to find it difficult, which is what causes most people to give up on any healthy routine. But it's important to keep going, because if you don't keep going, all your hard work and all your efforts are completely in vain otherwise. So consistency is key. So this accountability group will help keep you motivated to keep going. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you free instant access to the first challenge, which lasts for 7 days. And this is where we're going to start to regulate the insulin levels and start to reduce the level of inflammation that's being caused on the body. So inside the program, you'll hear me talking a lot about inflammation, reducing oxidative stress. So everything that we are doing around all the new habits that we're going to be developing around diet and lifestyle is all aimed at reducing that workload on the body, reducing the inflammation and reducing oxidative stress, so that the immune system can fire on all cylinders and fully focus on keeping us fit and healthy, which is our primary goal here. And if your goal is fat loss, or you want to build muscle or tone muscle, then you'll also understand how to give the body the right level of nutrients to make that happen, and achieve that goal, and sustain lasting results as well, which is more important. Because one thing, achieving the results, but unless you know how to adjust your nutritional intake accordingly once you've achieved your goal, then you will end up back at square one, which is the biggest problem with people, as I said, as I've said before in other videos. So to sign up to the challenge, just click the link in the video or in the post, and I look forward to seeing you over there.